what would be the answer in your view? I mean, if you have a view on resolving this, I mean, you're talking about these institutions that aren't working, at least in their traditional format, their traditional way of dealing with these matters. What do you think?
Well, we've passed up a whole lot of opportunities to deal with the war in the former Yugoslavia. We've told ourselves all along that the reason we've failed is because the problem is so difficult. I think we ought to reconsider whether we might have cause and effect mixed up and ask whether it's possible that this problem developed in the first place because our Cold War international order had dissolved and we haven't thought to put anything in its place. I think we need to do a lot of work on NATO. We need to do a lot of work on the UN, maybe even come up with some new kind of international institution that formalizes a dominant American role in dealing with major threats to world stability. That's a question on a very different level from what do we do about the former Yugoslavia. At this point, if we wanted seriously to bring about a settlement, we would probably do something like what the contact group has proposed. That is, to develop a plan that we think splits the differences between the different sides, make everybody accept something that they don't want. But in order to actually make that happen, the West has to use force to beat everybody over the head and tell them you must accept this, and if you don't, you'll be hit with air power, so forth, and then the West would have to be willing to put in troops on the ground. The fact is, the West is not willing to do any of those things.
Well, we understand that Ambassador Albright is prepared to introduce a resolution lifting the embargo. Just give me your reaction on that.
Well, if you look at American actions on lifting the embargo from the context of what's going on in Bosnia and the former Yugoslavia, it's very puzzling. It doesn't really make sense because, first of all, the UN can't expect to get the resolution passed in the Security Council, and even if it were passed, we need 9 votes. We probably don't have them, but even if it were passed, somebody, Russians or Chinese perhaps, somebody would veto it. So, as a political fact, we're not going to get this. And why would the president go to raise the Bosnian Muslims' expectations without being able to deliver? That's something that's very difficult to understand if we're just looking at what's going on in Bosnia. But if we look at this from the broader political context in the United States, the president has scored or appeared to score a number of successes in foreign policy recently, and we have the election coming up, and the administration thinks it's on a foreign policy roll.